also charged with possession of a machine gun that was used in the shooting of a rival gang territory in Newark, New Jersey. One other member of the gang is charged separately with attempted murder, unlawful possession of a firearm, and possession of narcotics with the intent to distribute. The defendants charged in the drug conspiracy face a mandatory minimum penalty of 10 years in prison, maximum potential penalty of life in prison, and a $10 million fine. The defendants charged for possession of the machine gun each face up to 10 years in prison.
The charges are sites. Building projects, we sell condos, we sell hotel rooms, we sell rounds of golf, we're in hospitality. Companies that we were affiliated with long before anybody even thought my father had a chance of regaining office as we were in a courtroom, are somehow questioned. I find that rather amusing, to tell you the truth. But no, I stay out of any kind of political, legislation in terms of crypto. I don't get involved in the fray. I put my head down, as I've always done. We're building the greatest real estate projects on earth. I'm very proud of them. I've got well over 10,000 employees around the world. But we're an American company. We're an incredible company. We've got phenomenal people, the most iconic projects, and we do it the right way. We absolutely do it the right way, and we do it for the benefit of America. We pay a fortune in taxes. I wouldn't say the same is true of a lot of people, to say the least.
Eric, this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation. A quick final thought as we finish.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you guys because you've always been on the right side of the fight. The way they've targeted you, the way they've targeted the kind of the publication and your outlet is nothing short of spectacular. And they did it to you both in Asia, and they've clearly done it to you in the U.S. So thanks for having conviction. The amount of people I've met in my life who have very little conviction, very little backbone, and don't actually stand up for what they believe, it's kind of tremendous. And you guys have been on the right side of this. So, thank you for honorable journalism and the fight that you've taken on every single day. And again, having the resiliency that you guys are. You guys are truly amazing. And I say that with all of my heart.
Athlete Lia Thomas of an NCAA Division I crown in the women's category in 2022 and all records as a female competitor at the University of Pennsylvania. It also requires the university to bar males from participating in female athletic programs or using women's bathrooms and locker rooms. The school must also issue a personal written apology to every female swimmer who competed against Lia Thomas. Education Secretary Linda McMahon praised the university for correcting what she called past harms against women and girls, speaking on Fox News.
We hope that agreement is going to be a template for other universities who acknowledge that there is no room for men and women's sports, not only during the competition, but also in the locker room and other intimate spaces.
President Trump earlier this year signed an executive order prohibiting males from competing in women's sports, citing Title IX laws passed in 1972 to protect women's athletics.
I've come to the realization that every generation has to make a decision for freedom and liberty. We may have received those things as gifts, but if they're to be extended beyond us, it's because we will choose to make sacrifices that allow children and grandchildren to have those wonderful gifts that have shaped our journeys through time. And when I think about our nation, what bound us together was not our appearance. We're a nation of immigrants. We've come from the nations of the world. We spoke different languages. We had different appearances. We had different customs. What bound us together was a set of values, a Judeo-Christian worldview, and the idea that if we all cooperated with that set of values, it brought opportunity to all of our lives. At the time that our nation emerged, Europe was very differently organized. They had kings and queens and figures of authority, and there was a nobility who owned the land, and the majority of the people were serfs or servants. You couldn't even hunt wild game. It belonged to the elites, the aristocracy. And America was birthed with this idea of egalitarianism, that every individual had value. That wasn't a political idea. It's a biblical idea, that we are each one created in God's image. So for us to maintain liberty and freedom and to truly appreciate the potential of our nation requires a people of faith that understand God is our creator, This holiday season, let's each one stop and say thank you to God for our freedoms and liberties and make choices that will extend those gifts to our children and grandchildren. If we'll do that, there's more reasons for hope than despair. I promise. I'll be back in just a minute with your emails.
Who administer Medicaid to check the federal government's dead people list before they pay the Medicaid payment out. Duh.
From disabled children, we're trying to stop that scam that states and providers have been using to draw down hundreds of billions of dollars from the federal government that we can't afford.
Now the bill heads to the House, where at least 2 House Republicans already oppose the bill. That's Congressman Thomas Massie, who is against
Ranitidine, which are way more powerful than fentanyl, and nobody's really talking about it yet. Now, at record levels, we're seeing the horse tranquilizer xylazine, which is not made for human consumption, in these substances that people are dying from. They're selling it at $1 a kilogram. So it's an evolution of a synthetic drug bombing campaign, in my opinion. And now, unfortunately, the Chinese criminals are running all the illicit marijuana grow operations, and they're selling marijuana that's 25 to 30% THC. It's so smart strategically because America has been so soft and paying attention to the marijuana problems. But we're on the right path. I don't want to be doom and gloom. There's a lot of positive things I'm seeing. People are recognizing that we have to educate every single kid in America. So hopefully we can get that on track and we can get every kid educated on a crisis that we've never seen in the history of this country.
Derek Malls. Thank you so much.
Hour flight. No troubles at all.
No complications, no hangups.
Nothing at all. Good, smooth flight.
We were just coming from Charlotte to DC, and there was like a little bit of a delay. And right now we've been waiting for our baggage for like 30 minutes, which is kind of annoying, but also I understand. So.
You think it was for the weather? Was it because of the weather, or was it for something else?
Maybe just like, I don't know, heavy travel, like a lot of people are traveling right now.
It's never a pleasant experience getting on airlines. You got to wait, but it was fine. It was actually no problem.
Walked right into Memphis Airport, got right onto the plane, and got straight here.
Was it a busy flight?
Absolutely not. I had people on my seat on my left was empty, and my seat on my right was empty.
Our flight was canceled last night, so we had to rebook and come this morning.
Was it because of the thunderstorm? Or?
It was, yeah.
And how was your flight here today? Was there any hangups, any complications?
No hangups, no complications. Totally smooth today.
You guys doing anything for the 4th of July?
Yeah, we're gonna watch fireworks and like take a bike tour to the monuments, patriotic stuff like that.
Yeah, I am doing something for the 4th of July. Well, I'll be at the White House.
I'll just relax and cook out.
Cook out?
Yeah, no trouble.
With family?
Yes, with family.
No plans yet. I guess I better start planning, huh?
We're going with my grandchildren to the beach.
Actually, I'm supposed to play golf the next 2 days, so hopefully the thunderstorms won't be all day.
I'm just chilling with my family. I'm in the Army, so I just got a chance to come back home. Gotta take it.
That is all we have for you this evening on the Capitol Report. For round-the-clock original coverage, you can visit us at ntd.com/live or download the NTD mobile app. I'm Steve Lance. Have a great evening. See you back here tomorrow.
Sites. Building projects, we sell condos, we sell hotel rooms, we sell rounds of golf. We're in hospitality. Companies that we were affiliated with long before anybody even thought my father had a chance of regaining office, as we were in a courtroom, are somehow questioned. I find that rather amusing, to tell you the truth. But no, I stay out of any kind of political, legislation in terms of crypto. I don't get involved in the fray. I put my head down, as I've always done. We're building the greatest real estate projects on earth. I'm very proud of them. I've got well over 10,000 employees around the world. But we're an American company. We're an incredible company. We've got phenomenal people, the most iconic projects, and we do it the right way. We absolutely do it the right way, and we do it for the benefit of America. We pay a fortune in taxes. I wouldn't say the same is true of a lot of people, to say the least.
Eric, this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation. A quick final thought as we finish.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you guys because you've always been on the right side of the fight. The way they've targeted you, the way they've targeted kind of the publication and your outlet is nothing short of spectacular. And they did it to you both in Asia, and they've clearly done it to you in the U.S. So thanks for having conviction. The amount of people I've met in my life who have very little conviction, very little backbone, and don't actually stand up for what they believe, it's kind of tremendous. And you guys have been on the right side of this. So, thank you for honorable journalism and the fight that you've taken on every single day, and again having the resiliency that you guys are. You guys are truly amazing, and I say that with all of my heart.
Of abuse and exploitation. Special agents discovered sponsors in possession of child sexual abuse material, those who had forced minors into labor, and those who subjected them to living conditions that constituted
Thanks,
neglect.
Uncle Joe.
In some
You
of the
did
most
it.
disturbing cases, girls were pregnant with children fathered by their alleged sponsors, which highlights the grave failures of previous vetting procedures. The effort was started in February and went back 4 years. ICE spokesperson Laszlo Bakse says our agents are doing what should have been done all along, protecting children, not pushing them into the shadows. On Tuesday, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem accompanied President Donald Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to Florida's new immigration detention center nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz.
People don't have to come here. If they self-deport and go home, they can come back legally. We will let them come back legally.
And there is a lot of self-deportation.
Earlier this week, White House border czar Tom Homan praised Governor DeSantis for help he's providing to the Trump administration's immigration security efforts.
Doing our job, we're going to arrest every public safety threat, national security threat we can find. And when we do that, we need a bed. Governor DeSantis is coming forth with a couple thousand beds. I applaud him for doing it.
Reporting in Washington, D.C., Jason Blair, NTD News.
Debt. It militarizes our entire economy and it strips away healthcare and basic dignity of the American people for what? To give Elon Musk a tax break?
Steve, it's important to note that the One Big Beautiful bill does not strip away benefits from constituents. What it does, it reforms the Medicaid program in order for those who are supposed to be receiving the benefits receive it. One of the main clauses of the One Big Beautiful bill is establishing work requirements for able-bodied adults ages 19 through 64. So if you're able-bodied 19 through 64, you have to prove that you are at least either working 20 hours a week, volunteering 20 hours a week, or going to school for 20 hours a week. If you're not doing any of those three and you're able-bodied, Republicans argue you should not be receiving these benefits.
Preferences. I never going to ask anybody to compromise core principles, but preferences must be yielded for the greater good, and this is part of the process. It's a consensus building operation, has been from day one. This is the culmination of 14 months worth of work.
So, Steve, we have to give it to Speaker.
Millionaires don't work overtime, and millionaires don't worry about paying their taxes on Social Security. These are things that are going to help regular Americans, as well as locking down the border and doing things that we've promised for decades. I know some of my colleagues have issues, but we can't let perfect be the enemy of the good, and we need to get this over the finish line.
Congressman, to your point, one of the things Democrats are really focusing on, and a few Republicans for that matter, the North Carolina senator, is Medicaid, the situation with Medicaid. It's always a bit complicated. Unpack some of those things for us and talk to us about if this will impact hardworking.
I mean, the One Big Beautiful bill says if you're an illegal immigrant, you shouldn't get Medicaid. That should
between Washington and Beijing over Beijing's efforts to expand its influence and power in the region. Beijing right now has a security pact with the Solomon Islands and a police presence in several nations. Rubuka said one reason Beijing did not need a new base is due to its intercontinental ballistic missile launched in September. Its missile flew over the Fiji and landed in international waters. In response to the Chinese Coast Guard's planned South Pacific patrols, Rubuka said the Chinese regime would need to observe Fiji's sovereignty and its sovereign waters.
Coming up, tariffs on Chinese imports are pushing up. Tibetans are gearing up to celebrate the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. As this milestone age, the question of who will succeed him is growing more urgent. The Dalai Lama is Tibet's spiritual leader and one of the world's most influential figures. In the 1950s, the Dalai Lama fled Tibet to India after China took control of the region. He has long advocated for nonviolence and religious freedom for Tibetans. Early this year, Beijing claimed the Dalai Lama has no right to represent Tibet and insisted it would appoint the next successor. But the Dalai Lama strongly opposes any involvement by the Chinese regime, urging his followers to reject Beijing's choice. He says the successor will be born in the free world, describing that as outside China. Both the US and India are watching the situation closely. Washington has made it clear it won't allow China to choose the next Dalai Lama and remains committed to supporting Tibetan human rights.
Of the bird flu led Waffle House to add a 50-cent surcharge to every egg is sold. It was a hefty surcharge for the chain's most ordered item. Waffle House says on its website it serves 272 million eggs a year. After months of surging egg prices, they finally began falling in the spring. The U.S. Agriculture Department reported that a dozen large white shell eggs now cost less than $3. In a post on X, the company wrote, quote, "Excellent news. As of June 2nd, the egg surcharge is officially off the menu." And Tesla.
I wanted to take the skills and some of the blessings that God had given me through music and to put something out there that was going to make everyone proud and bring people together.
Being part of a military family and service families, I think there's not a lot of racism because you only fight for three colors, red, white, and blue.
Follow me!
Rain killed an estimated 60 to 66 million people. More famines and purges would occur. The very peasants that communism was supposed to benefit instead starved to death under its rule. The party dictates what is right and wrong. Mao ended up killing between 50 million and 70 million people.